Yes, thank you, Mr. President. In other words, what you're saying, Dr. Susi, is that walang authorization from the board yung March 20, 2020 issuance, yung IRM 2020-0007, walang authority from the board.
There was a board meeting. I'm not sure what date the board meeting was, where it was discussed, but we were informed. This was
Only
not.
informed.
We were just informed, and we were asked to endorse it.
And you were asked to endorse, but you did not ratify or adopt a resolution because the board resolution came after.
Yes, sir. That is
Yeah.
correct.
So walang authorization from the board yung IRM, yung circular 0007 dated March 20. You were just informed
Yes, sir.
that they would implement.
Yes,
That's
sir.
another thing, sa implementation. We noticed na yung past issuances, Mr. President, if I may, yung date ng implementation or dissemination comes immediately after the issuance. Can you flash on the screen? Past issuances, pagka yung either on the same date or the day after, lumalabas yung dissemination or yung implementation. Pero in this particular case, it came a month after yung dissemination. April 22 na disseminate yung IRM, yung 0007, March 20. Now, in an effort to justify the date, in-antedate nila to March 21. But the date of the dissemination was on April 22. Kasi marami na silang releases, prior to March 31, board resolution, yung 2515, nakapag-release na yung PhilHealth ng 703 million pesos. Actually, 703,661,648.79. And then, prior to April 22, ang na-release, ang fund releases na ng PhilHealth, mas malaki pa, umabot na ng 9.29 or 9.3 billion pesos. So, in effect, hindi pa na-disseminate. Ang tanong ko ngayon, Mr. President, anong guidelines meron yung mga magre-release ng pondo, yung mag-i-implement, yung regional vice presidents, kung wala pang nai-issue yung implementing guidelines or what they call SOP? Kasi nag-i-issue sila ng SOP, nandun yung parameters, nandun yung guidelines, how to disperse, how to make a list, how to, all the guidelines are there. So how could they release without implementing guidelines or what they call SOP? That's my question, Mr. President. Thank you.
And who would like to answer that question?
Mr. Chairman,
What would have justified the release of 703 million and 9.3 billion?
Mr. President, may I?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the Senate. As a background, in January 2020, we were in a state of anxiety because we knew that COVID was coming. We knew how it hit the other countries. And so we were in a state of panic. So we wanted to be preemptive, to take preemptive measures. To be able to prepare our hospitals to respond to this pandemic, which we did not know at that time how soon, how hard, and how long it was going to hit us. Now, the computation of the board, of course, has to rely on management for figures because the figures lies with management. And the algorithm we adopted was to use the 90-day historical claim of the hospitals as the basis for the IRM allocation. So it is not arbitrary. And what we wanted to achieve was to prepare all the regions, the provinces, and the cities with a COVID war chest that would prepare them to respond to the pandemic. Now, in the administration of this effort, there were some, I must admit, some expedients that had to be adopted because hindi ho natin alam kung gaano katindi ang dagok nitong COVID. Nagmamadali kami makarelease ng pera. But we made sure that all the releases were covered by a contract and that we would be able to account for all the funds that were available. We were getting a lot uh, of rescue entreaties from hospitals that they had to buy PPEs, they had to buy disinfectants, they were worried about their workforce. So yun ho yung sitwasyon early this year when all this was happening. Ang intention ho ng PhilHealth ay maunahan ho yung COVID,
Alright.
yung tama ho ng pandemic. Yun po.
Thank you. That is a fair response dahil naunahin yung DOH na naging alarmado kayo. Nauna pa kayo sa DOH ng January. That's good. But may I ask Board Member Mercado and Board Member Cabati, was that the intention in January when you passed that? Yung 2496?
Sir, in January, as far as I recall, we were not talking about COVID yet.
O yun nga sinasabi. Attorney Kabading? How about you? You were there. Board Member Kabading? Yes, he's logged in. Anyway,
Mr. President, no, with the indulgence of our colleagues, kasi pinasa natin yung Bayanihan Act to Heal as Act 1, March 24. Naunahan pa nila tayo na magbibigay tayo ng authorization or authority to the President to realign budgets and so forth and so on. Yun, as early as January, na-foresee na nila na i-address na nila yung pandemic. Eh yung unang kaso sa Pilipinas, I remember yung Wuhan couple. I think that was March or February yata yun eh. Naunahan pa nila yung unang-unang COVID case. In-anticipate nyo na. Thank you, Mr. President.